So this video is going to be about solving inequalities with adding and subtracting. So like equations, inequalities are very similar in how to solve one-step equations. You always want to use the inverse operation, and you always want to get the variable isolated. So in this case, we have x minus 4 is less than 8. So we want to get x by itself. So because it's minus 4, we're going to add 4 on both sides. So we get x is less than 12. And now that we have the variable by itself, we can actually graph it. So I'm going to write 12, 13, 14. I'm going to fill out my number line. Now, because it's less than 12, we're always going to put an open circle on 12. And we want numbers that are less than 12. So in this case, we're going to make sure that it goes to the left. We always write our interval notation as we're reading it left to right. So in this case, we're going towards the negative numbers. So we would write negative infinity. We put a parenthesis next to the negative infinity because we're not including negative infinity. And we would put the 12 parenthesis because of the fact that we're not including the 12. Now for the second one, we're going to do the same thing. We want to get the variable by itself, which is p. It's a pot, and then the 16 is in the way, so we want to subtract 16 on both sides. So we get p is greater than or equal to negative 2. We want to fill out our number line, least to greatest. So I'm negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Then we have negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, and negative 6. Now, because p is greater than or equal to negative 2, we're going to have a closed circle on negative 2. And we're going to make sure that we have numbers that are greater than negative 2. So 0 would be greater than negative 2, so we want to go to the right. Now we want to write our interval notation, and that would mean that we are reading left to right. And in this case, we have a negative 2, and it's closed, so we want to bracket negative 2, comma, and we're going towards all the positive numbers, so we want a positive infinity and then a parenthesis for our interval notation. Our next one, we want to make sure that our equation, we have the variable always on the left side. So we're going to solve for it first and then switch it. So for example, we're going to subtract the 3/4 on both sides. So we would get 8 and 1/4 is greater than y. But we always want to make sure the variable is on the left side. So all we're going to do is switch it. So we have y is now less than, so you have to flip the sign, 8 and 1/4. You just kind of totally flip it around because this means the same thing. 8 and 1/4 is greater than y. Y is less than 8 and 1/4. It means the same thing, but we always want to have the variable on that left side. So in this case, we are going to now fill out our number line. So we have 8 and 1/4. I'm going to go up by fourths, so I have 8 1/2. 8 and 3/4, 9, 9 and 1/4. We got 8, and then we have 7 and 3/4, 7 1/2, 7 and 1/4, and 7. So I'm going to put an open circle on 8 and 1/4, and I want numbers that are less than 8 and 1/4. So in that case, I'm going to have my arrow facing this way because 7 is less than 8 and 1/4. I'm going to write my interval notation as reading left to right. So it would be negative infinity with a parenthesis next to it, comma, 8 and 1/4, and a parenthesis because it's not including that.